Once you've chosen a great transition to talk about, the next thing you need to do is paraphrase or give context to your quote. This idea right here is what's paraphrasing or adding context to my quote. The context is you explaining where in the story does your quote come from. Does it come at the beginning of the story? Does it come at the end of the story? What was happening in that story? So again, I think about my quote and I think about where in the story did I take this from? What was happening to Frederick Douglass? So I said, to begin with, Douglass was enslaved by Mr. Covey and was forced to fan wheat, a very physical and demanding job. During one of the hottest days of the year, Douglass became sick and could no longer work. In these two sentences, I have said where in the story, oh, it's when he was forced to fan wheat. I've also said, oh, it was the hottest day of the year. I've also started to paraphrase. This idea here is my paraphrase, telling me that he is sick and no longer able to work. That's coming from this idea that he has an aching head, he has extreme dizziness, and he's trembling in every limb. So I'm taking notes from my quote, paraphrasing it before it, and making sure I tell you where in the story it's coming from. What's bolded here is then the transition I've used to move into my quote. That transition says, this is illustrated in the beginning of the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. I then move right into my quote. This allows my reader to know that what I was talking about here is then supported by this quote here.